See this channel, this one and this one. Do you know what they all have in common? Yes, they are all getting millions of views, but also they are all faceless channels. In this video, I will show you how you can take over social media and rack up millions of views for your own personal brand without ever showing your face. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do and join me on the journey to 10k subs. Plus, I have got some exclusive free gifts for you, so make sure to watch the video till the end. Let's dive in. Today, we'll be completely recreating this faceless shot by our future.
This 55-year-old was denied a promotion, so he started the world's most important company. Morris Chang grew up in China, but left to study engineering at MIT. While he failed his PhD exam, he got a job at Texas Instruments and eventually became vice president of its semiconductor business. After a 25-year career, Morris quit after being denied the CEO role at TI. But luckily, his talents were spotted from far away. Taiwan's government reached out to him asking for help in building a chip factory. So he started Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company in 1987 at the age of 55.
Let's see how we can do that. Coming to our timeline, I have firstly added the audio. This is the audio which you can record on your own or get it from your client. The next thing that you should do is add the subtitles. For doing that, it's super simple in CapCut. Click on text. Go to auto captions. Select the correct language and click on generate. Within seconds, it will generate the entire captions. Now in order to change the font, head over to text. In basic, click on font, and the font that we are going to use is the bold font. This is a free font that you can get from this website. Next, click on captions. One rule of thumb which you need to remember while creating any sort of short or any reel is that there should not be more than 2 to 3 words in one scene. For doing that, head over to captions. Over here, simply start clicking enter. For example, click over here and simply press enter. This will take it to the next line. So as you can see over here, there are only 2 to 3 words in one scene. I am going to speed run through this. Next, select this and bring it to the middle. Go to text and we can increase the font size from 11 to around 15. Okay, this is becoming too long. Again, go to captions and then let's bring this to the next line. Okay, this is looking good. Next, go back to text. Over here, we have the option of selecting a preset style. The first two ones are the most popular ones. I'm going to use the first one. So we are done with the subtitles. Now let's start working on the main part.
This 55-year-old was denied a promotion, so he started the...
So the first line that we have is this 55-year-old was denied a promotion. So go to media. Over here, I have got some images. Most of these images are from free sites and from Google. Like all these images which you can see over here, I have simply downloaded them from Google and then just removed the background. For removing the background, I have used remove.bg. You can simply upload the image over here and it removes the background within seconds. Let's first drag the background. In the background, we are going to have a lot of computers. Let's enlarge this. I'm going to keep it something like this. Let's drag the person on the top. Increase the size. And in front of him, we also want to add this desk. So add this desk. Increase the size as well. So this can be something like this, where there is a background where there are a lot of computers. Then we have the person. Let's make him small such that it fits. And then in the front of him, we have another image, a desk on which there are few papers and there is a laptop. But right now, when I'm zooming in, we can only see the papers. Let's zoom in. So this will be the first image.
This 55-year-old was denied a promotion, so he started the world's most...
The first scene is going to last till here. So I'm going to trim the remaining part. Trim it till here. Trim this as well. And then lastly, let's trim the background. Okay, now let's animate all the 3 layers. Firstly, let's start with the background. Take the player to the start. Add a keyframe. Zoom out a bit. Let's increase the size. Next, take the player to the end. Add another keyframe. And decrease the size. So it will look as if the background is getting zoomed in. Next, click on the person, go to animation and create a slide up. And lastly, let's animate the files in front of Morris. For doing that, again take the player to the start, click on video, add a keyframe in position and size, take the player to the end, add another keyframe and slightly shift this to the left. Don't take it too much. These files on the front need to be slightly blurred. For doing that, click on Effects and search for Blur and drag this effect on top of this clip. Over here in Special Effects, we have the option of adjusting the blur. So make it less and keep it as low as just keep it 3 or 4 so that we get the required effect.
This 55-year-old was denied a promotion, so he started the...
Next, when we have the text was denied promotion, at that time we have to add this billboard which has the text on top of it saying promotion denied. For doing that, I'm going to drag this to a timeline, increase the size. Let's shift the person to the right. We can keep it somewhere around here. Let's decrease this and put it over here. Next, trim it from the right. Also trim it from the left.
was denied a promotion.
So when it says denied a promotion, it will come over here. Go to animation and give it a slide right. On top of this, we have to add the text no promotion. For doing that, click on text. Click on add text and drag the default layer on the timeline. Remove it from the right. Over here, this is the text. Let's change the color to red. And I'm going to write no promotion. Let's change the font to the bold font. I'm going to add a distance in the line. Increase the line to around 14. Let's keep it over here. Now both the text as well as the board should come inside the screen in sync. So select both the clips, right click and then create a compound clip. Now let's animate the compound clip. So click on animation and select slide right. So we are finished with the first scene. Let's see how it looks.
This 55-year-old was denied a promotion, so he started...
Okay, now let's move on to the second scene. As usual, the first thing that you need to do while creating any scene is that have the background in place. For this, we are going to have a sky. So firstly, I'm going to drag this. Increase the size. Next, we have the building. So I'm just going to drag this to a timeline. And let's increase the size. Let's keep it something like this. And lastly, let's drag Morris to a timeline. And increase the size. Let's keep in such that we can see his face as well as we can see the logo of the company which he started. So I'm going to keep the company like this. And then he can come over here on the left. This effect is going to last till over here. For that, I'm going to trim the rest. Trim it from the right. Or simply you can cut it over here and then delete the rest. Same thing for the background and delete the rest. Now let's animate this scene similar to the first one. For doing that, let's start with the background. Go to animation and add slide down. Over here, instead of 0.5, just decrease the duration and keep it 0.2 seconds. Next, click on the company. Go to video. We'll need to add some keyframes. Take the player to the start. Add a keyframe. Next, take the player to the end. Add another keyframe and increase the size. Next, click on animation and give it a slide up animation. So it will look as if first the company will come in the screen and then it will increase in size. And lastly, let's animate the person. We are just going to give him a slide red effect. Before moving on to the next scene, let's see how this looks.
So he started the world's most important company.
Okay, this is looking really nice. Let's move on. The next, we have the story of our protagonist, where we are going to tell how he grew up in China, but later left China to study engineering at MIT. So let's start the effect. Initially, as we are going to say about China, let's add the flag of China in the background. I already have this one. Let's drag it to the background and increase the size such that it fits the entire screen. I'm going to drag it to the left. I have this old photo of him, so I'm going to just use the same one and drag it to the timeline. And let's increase the size and keep it something like this. To give it a grainy feel, I'm going to add some effects on top of this. So click on effects and drag the blue mosaic on top of this. Next, decrease the filters. Also decrease the size and the texture. If I make this full screen now, you can see we have great looking texture on top of our subject. We are saying that he left China to pursue engineering at MIT. We will need to cut it over here. Let's cut both the clips. Before we add the MIT clips, let's animate this. So click on the clip, go to animation and give it a slide up animation. And for the flag, let's give it a fade in animation. For our next scene, let's again add our background. This is the same one, the sky background. Let's increase the size. I'm going to keep this over here. And then let's drag the MIT to the timeline. And increase the size. We want to show that the clouds are moving. For doing that, click on speed and increase the speed of the clip to around 5x. So it will show as if the clouds are moving very fast. Now over here, similar to how we give him an in animation, let's also give him our out animation. For doing that, click on the clip, go to animation. In the out animation, select slide left. At the same time, for this, we need to select in the in animation, slide up. And for the sky, we have to select slide down. Let's put it something like this, so that we don't see that black gap. In fact, let's not give any animation to the background. Click on background and do it no animation. But let's have animation for the school. Increase the size, keep it over here at MIT. Effect is going to last till here. So I'm going to trim out the rest. For doing that, cut it over here and cut it over here. I'm going to delete both these parts. Now we'll need to add some keyframes. So click on the clip, add a keyframe over here, then go till the end, add another keyframe, and now increase the size and bring it up. So it should look as if the size of the school building is increasing. So we are done with our fourth scene. If you are loving the video and getting value from it, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Moving on, we have the text that he has failed in his PhD exam. So for showing that, I am going to add this B-roll to the timeline and then increase the size. So where he says and failed his PhD exam. So when we have the text failed his PhD exam, at the same time, we should have the F in the screen. So I'm going to trim this clip from the left.
He failed his PhD exam.
Okay, PhD exam. So this looks perfect. And the next we have is that he got a job at Texas Instruments. Next, I have the image of the Texas Instruments building over here. Now let's work on this scene. Like always, let's add the sky background to the timeline. Increase the size. He got a job at Texas Instruments. So I'm going to drag the Texas Instruments building to the timeline. Increase the size. We have to keep it in such a way that we can always see the logo. So this clip is going to last till here. So I'm going to trim the rest. Simply cut it over here and also cut the background over here and delete the rest. For this one, I'm going to use this image again. Let's just rotate the image. For rotating the image, we can use this mirror tool. Rotate the image and then increase the size. And we can keep him something like this over here.
He got a job at Texas Instruments and eventually became vice.
Okay. Then eventually become vice president. Now let's animate all our images. The first one is the company. Go to animation. In the in animation, add slide up.
He got a job.
And similar to how we had done it earlier, now let's add keyframes. By adding keyframes, we are going to increase its size. First, add a keyframe over here. Next, take the playhead to the end. Add another keyframe and then slightly increase the size so that it looks as if the image is increasing. Next, click on the clip of the person. Again, go to animation and click on slide left. And eventually became vice president. So when he says vice president, add a batch over here. For doing that, I'm just going to go to sticker. I'm going to keep it super simple and going to add this batch to the timeline. Decrease the size. Keep it over here. Let's zoom in. Scroll down. Okay, this is looking good.
Eventually became vice president.
When he says vice president, this should come in the screen. Let's trim it from the right. Now go to animation and click on spring. Let's see this one.
At Texas Instruments and eventually became vice president.
Let's increase the size. And when he says of its semiconductor business, for this we have to add a B-roll. Again go to media and add this B-roll to the timeline. And let's increase the size. We can trim the unwanted part. Simply come over here, cut this and delete. So we are halfway through our video. For the next scene, we have to show how Morris quit his job because he was denied a promotion. Let's see how we can do that with the use of just one image and one text. Firstly, let's drag this image to the timeline. This will be our background. Let's increase the size. Let's flip it and keep it something like this over here. This effect is going to last till here. So I'm going to trim out the rest. First, take the player to the start. Add a keyframe. Then take the player to the end. Add another keyframe and slowly drag this image. So at the end of the clip, we can see him handing some papers to his colleague. Take the player over here. Keep the keyframe till here. Next, go to stickers and search for dialogue. Okay, we can use this one. Drag the sticker to the timeline. Trim this from the right. Let's decrease the size. I'll keep it something like this. Next, go to text. Drag the default text on top of this. Again, trim out the size. Change the color. Let's keep the color as red. Change the font to the bold font. Bring this up over here. And inside this, just write I quit. Let's increase the size. Let's select both of them, right click on them and then create a compound clip. We did this in order to give it an animation. Then click on animation.
Being denied the CEO role at TI, but luckily,
After we complete this scene, I have added a small clip of me talking about this topic. This can be replaced by your own clip so that you can build your personal brand. So this might not really match with the underlying text because this is not in my voice, but if you use your own voice, it will match perfectly. So now let's move on to the next part. So we are almost at the end of the clip. So next text that we have is that Taiwan's government reached out to him. For that, first we have the Taiwan's flag. Let's add the flag to the timeline. Let's increase the size so that we can fill the entire clip. Taiwan's government reached out to him. So what we can do in order to make the video moving, take the player to the start, add a keyframe, then take it over here, add another keyframe and then bring the flag from the left to the right. So where we end the keyframe, over here, just trim the clip. So I'm going to cut it and then delete the rest. So next text that we have is that the government asking his help in building a chip factory. So I have this B-roll of the chip factory. I'm going to drag it to a timeline and increase the size and keep it something like this. Building a chip factory. So it will end over here. So I'm going to trim out the rest, cut it over here and delete it. So he started Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. So now let's again add the background. For the background, I have this image. Make it bigger. Next, drag him to the timeline. Increase the size. Trim it out from the right. Now we only have to give two effects. For the background, we have to give it a zoom in effect. And for him, we have to give it a zoom out effect. So take the playhead to the start. Add a keyframe. Bring the playhead to the end. Add another keyframe. And then let's just increase the size. And for the person, we are going to do the opposite. So initially, he will be the same size as you will see him right now. But by the end, take the player to the end, add a keyframe, and then let's just decrease the size. Okay, let's see how it looks.
started Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company in
Actually, the text TSMC is not visible. So what I'm going to do is delete this, click on this keyframe, increase the size and bring this up. Zoom out, again increase the size such that the logo is properly visible. Click on this keyframe, take this to the middle, then take the player to the end and then zoom out a bit. For doing that, we can simply increase the size from over here. We can keep it around 520. So we're done with the entire clip. Let's see the final result once.
This 55-year-old was denied a promotion, so he started the world's most important company. Morris Chang grew up in China but left to study engineering at MIT. While he failed his PhD exam, he got a job at Texas Instruments and eventually became vice president of its semiconductor business. After a 25-year career, Morris quit after being denied the CEO role at TI. But luckily, his talents were spotted from far away. Taiwan's government reached out to him asking for help in building a chip factory. So he started Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company in 1987 at the age of 55.
Thank you guys for watching the video. I really hope this was helpful. If you loved the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to learn how to edit like other pro YouTubers, make sure to check this playlist. And I will catch you in the next video.